Oh, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tia and this is Vlogmas Day 10. Alright y'all, so today we're doing a quick holiday glam look. I have about 30 minutes to get ready, so we're gonna see if we can get this makeup look done in time before I have to leave out. So yes, let's jump right in. So I'm gonna start with priming my face. And then also probably laying down my brows a little bit. They look pretty good right now because I did shape them myself. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start with my NYX brow glue. And I'm just gonna kind of mess them up a little bit, make them a little scruffy. So I'm gonna use the Milk Hydro Grip today because I really like using this in the winter, even though I feel like it's more of a thicker and heavier one compared to my Bobbi Brown. It gets the job done in the winter. I feel like in the winter, heavier makeup is okay. In the summertime, you don't really want everything caked onto your face. At least I don't. I'm more of a very lightweight, like tinted moisturizer kind of girl, but it's winter, y'all. The glam can be as glamorous as you want it to be, okay? I'm just gonna get all of the really important areas, especially my T-zone, because my T-zone gets really oily, especially when my skin is exfoliated. Y'all, I'm going through it right now. I am on my cycle, so that hormonal breakout versus, you know, my skin just kind of freaking out, especially because of the seasons changing, is doing me dirty. But it's okay because your girl is going to get a hydrofacial, and I think that I want to do a round of Curology, maybe for like, I don't know, 2 to 3 months. I want to see if I can give that a try before I start doing my hydrofacials, because my hydrofacials I want to get into doing right before, you know, the weather changes again. But I went ahead and straightened my brows back up, you know, just let those dry, let that set. I'm gonna go through and do a little spot correcting, but I'm gonna do it with my Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. So I'm just gonna cover up some of those spots that I feel like are really problem areas. I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, a lot of dark spots, a lot of redness. So that's something that we're definitely gonna be looking to get together, you know, closer to when I decide to start my Curology. This is the inspo for this look today. I really wanted to go with something really cute, really wintry, really like frosty, to go with the white dress that I'm wearing. I don't like to let this sit too long because it does dry kind of quickly. So just let it sit for a couple of seconds just so it can get a little tacky in the primer that we put on, and then dab it in to cover some of those spots. Yes, it looks crazy now, but again, trust the process. It'll be really even, really, really pretty when I put my NARS on top. I'm gonna use some of the excess to cover some of this redness. It doesn't have to be perfect because again, we're going over it with foundation, but at least it just gives that extra layer of coverage without being too cakey. I'm gonna go over that with my NARS foundation. So this is the light reflecting foundation. I've been loving this, y'all. This has been one of my favorite foundations since my sister put me on. What I have learned is do not drip it on your face. It almost always drips on whatever clothing that I have. So don't do it. Just back of the hand, 2 pumps to start off. And then we're gonna use our brush to do some circles on the face. I got that from Miss Monet. And as you can see, that concealer is completely disappearing. Doesn't mess with the color match, but it also helps with covering a lot of that hyperpigmentation. Perfect. And the best thing about this foundation is that it's really, really buildable. So I'm gonna add 2 more pumps. Don't forget to bring that down the neck a little bit, just to blend that out. But again, this is a pretty good color match for me, so I don't really have to do too much. Next, I'm gonna go in with my NARS concealer. This is the Radiant Creamy Concealer. This I do not let sit under my under eyes. I just blend it right when I put it on because this dries really quick. So all I do is 3 swipes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I don't really use too much of these products because my face is already kind of chiseled just by its natural shape. So I do like to be a little slow when applying it and just taking my time so I don't overdo it. But I'm going to go in with some concealer while I let that. I'm gonna let it dry just a little bit, not too long. By the time I finish bronzing, I'm good. So this is the Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick. I love this. I absolutely love this. I'm definitely gonna get it in a bigger one, and I literally just tap, 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 tap till I get enough product. And then all I'm doing is placing this right underneath the highest point of my cheekbone, just to draw my cheekbone and my face up a little bit more That way when the light catches these areas, they kind of just, it does what it needs to do. I then drag it onto my forehead, you know, with these swiping motions going back into the hairline. That also snatches my forehead. And I'm not, again, using a lot of product. At this point, I'm using the excess. Dab, 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 dab. We're just gonna keep tapping it. And then same thing on the other side. Just to pull the face up. Just to pull the face up. Don't need too much, again, because I already have defined cheekbones, so we don't want to look crazy. We just want to accentuate what we already have. And then I'm going to use the excess on my nose. I don't do too much with carving out my nose because I don't think I need it. I like the way my nose looks. And that's pretty much it, okay? We'll go in and clean that up in a little bit. Now we're going to blend out our concealer because it's been sitting long enough. And I just dab it. I'm gonna go in with a puff to fully blend it out. I like the puff better because it doesn't take up too much of the product, but it spreads it and blends it out perfectly. And it doesn't look like I just caked a bunch on. So right now I'm just using the brush to spread it in the area that I want it to stay in. I use some of the excess right near my nose where I tend to get pretty red. And then we're gonna put a little bit here with the excess because again, the light already naturally hits this area of my forehead, so I don't need too much. I'm gonna go in with a puff and blend that in even more. Picks up enough of the product so it doesn't look like I put too much on, but blends it out flawlessly. That looks so good. I love this concealer, y'all. It's really easy to use and it's pretty movable as long as you don't let it stay too long. But I find that a brush and a puff works perfect for this concealer. So next I'm gonna go in with a little bit of blush. So based on the look that I just showed you guys, she has a pinky blush. I don't like my blush to look too pinky in the winter. I want it to give like a rosy, but kind of like a darker rose, kind of like a more plum rose. So using Very Well in the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush, and then I'm gonna mix it with my Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. I mix all of my blushes with Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk because I think it's such a good finish. I think it's such a perfect transitional shade, especially when you kind of want to thin something out. So yeah, I'm gonna take this on the back of my hand as well because this is very pigmented, and if you put too much on, you'll look crazy. And then I'm just gonna take the excess that I had left from my Pillow Talk. I'm just gonna dab that on the back of my hand. Make sure that's nice and mixed in. And then I'm just gonna get the very, very top of my cheekbone and pull it into the apples of my cheek. I'm not gonna go too far up in the hairline because I really want this to kind of sit and be very pretty. So I don't wanna do anything too dramatic. And then we're gonna tap a little bit more, just the excess, and kind of build that color. And don't worry, I'm gonna clean up the concealer so it's not gonna look so choppy. And then I'm gonna take that same puff that I used to blend out the concealer, and I'm gonna blend out some of these lines so it doesn't look so harsh. And that looks much better, all right? We are gonna go in with a little bit more concealer because we wanna clean that up. So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit. I'm gonna do one swipe going into like a diagonal, just kind of like a diagonal, whatever. And then I'm gonna use this brush just to move it around. And then I'm gonna go in with my puff just to, again, blend out any of those harsh lines. Perfect. And that is our cream liquid base, all right? So we're good on the cream liquid base. Now we're gonna go into our eyes and then kind of finish her out. So I'm first gonna start with my Juvia's Palace Bronzed palette. I love this palette, y'all. And I like to use a big fluffy brush because I don't care for my contour to be too perfect. So I'm just gonna dab, tap, tap, tap the excess, and then I just kind of swipe it on there. Again, I don't mind it being a little messy because I feel like makeup doesn't have to be perfect. She'll be cute. And you're going in to clean this up anyway, so why does it matter? And then I'm just gonna lightly dust my nose because it's really not that deep, and then just get a little bit of the chin. So for our blush, I love this blush. I use this blush for everything. This is the Revolutionaries Rose Kiss Blusher Reloaded. This I've had, as you can see, she's broken up a little bit, but she does the job. And I just pat or dab or tap, whatever, brush off the excess, and then I pat in where I see the blush. Set my under eye in those areas that I highlighted. I'm gonna use the One Size Sweet Honey setting powder. I really like this setting powder. I've been using it. I switched it out for my Revolutionary's banana powder, and I think I like it way better. And then I'm gonna tap, 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 just pick up that product. And instead of just going in, I'm gonna dab some of it on the back of my hand just to break it up so I don't have clumps of it. And then we're gonna get right underneath the eye and just tap that in, just pat that in. And then go in with some more on the other side. All right, and then I'm also gonna get the other parts of my face that I put a little bit of that concealer on. To clean up some of that excess powder that got on our blush, I'm just gonna take the excess from the brush that we use for our blush and kind of just swipe it, I guess. So now I'm gonna go in and set the rest of my face, but this time I'm gonna use a pressed powder. I've been using the pressed powder from e.l.f.'s Halo Glow line. It's the Powder Filter Pressed Powder in Tan Warm. I use this one to get all the other places that I put my cream and liquid products, so just the lower part of my chin. And then I also brush it over the rest of the makeup just to kind of blend it out a little bit more, get those harsh lines, and kind of melt all of that together. So I'm gonna use this bronze color that I typically use to bronze up my face, and I'm just gonna bronze up the outer corner of my eye. I'm gonna use my Revolutionary palette. This is the Revolutionary Reloaded in Velvet Rose. I got this from ASOS because I just felt like it has all of the good warms and transitional shades, so why not? And then I'm gonna go in with a brush that is fluffy, but just not as fluffy. And we're gonna go in with this shade. This is a little bit darker than what I use to bronze up my face, but it'll also serve as a good shade to transition into. So we'll tap that, and then I'm just gonna go right into the next section. Now I'm gonna start with a nude shade instead of just going directly in with a very pale pinky white. And I do want to do more of a pinky pale white and not just like white. So first we're gonna start with a nude. And I'm gonna start with my lightest nude, but something that's not too, I don't want it to be too nude. So I'm gonna start with this one here just to create that base. And I'm gonna swipe it. Now I'm gonna go in with the lighter pinky shade. So this is the lightest pinky shade that I have. Again, I didn't want it to be just flat on white because I think that is a little bit much. So I'm gonna tap, 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 tap. And then I'm just gonna start building from the corner on out and just blending that. I think I like that. I think that's light enough for where I'm going and what I'm doing. And then I'm also gonna like wake it up a little bit with my next palette. Next palette I'm gonna go in with is gonna bring the glitter. This is gonna give me the glitter. So this is the Outer Spice palette from Morphe. And this is definitely giving like holiday palette. So I'm gonna go in with the same brush because I just use a lighter shade. And this is a light pinkier shade that I'm just gonna go right on top. And I'm gonna swipe, and that's gonna give us that very, very light and bright inner corner. And I think she's starting to look good. She's starting to come together. So now that we have our inner corner and all of our other transitional shades on, we're gonna start adding in the glitter, my favorite part. I'm going to go in with this pinky rose gold color. It's called Cinnamon Twist. And I'm just gonna tap it just a little bit. This is going directly in the middle, just to give it a little bit of glitter. And then I'm gonna go in with this Jacqueline Iced Mini Highlighter. I rarely ever use this, but we're just gonna use it today. And this is just gonna go in the very inner corner. And then I'm gonna top off what I just put in the middle, just to give it a little more pop, because this is definitely giving icy, and this is an icy look. So I'm just gonna gently dab it, using the same brush for the middle, and then we're gonna switch brushes for the inner corner and not be too sloppy. So that just brightens up that inner corner, just giving it a little more glitter, a little more pop. And you really get that frosty effect, so I really like that. And then I'm just gonna drag it out to my lower lash line, just so I have a good blend. when I add in my eyeliner. I'm gonna use my Ulta Beauty Collection gel eyeliner. This is in black brown, and I'm just going to pull my lid down a little bit. And we're not gonna be very heavy-handed because again, we're gonna buff this out and just get the lower lash line, go a little bit into where I dragged out that highlighter. And then we're just gonna blend her out so she looks a little smoky. And just drag it in. I'm gonna go back in with that brush that we used to drag out the highlighter, just to give it that blend again, because I don't want it to look too harsh. I'm going to do a little brown wing because it looks like she has a wing on there and it's really, really cute. So I'm gonna use the same liner, but instead of going directly in on the eye, I'm going to use the brush, the angled brush, to swipe some of that product off, and then I'm gonna create that wing just with the brush itself, nothing too crazy. So I drag my brush out and then I drag it back in. So instead of just doing a regular wing, I'm gonna blend this up into the eye. I've been doing that a lot to where I still get that wing effect, but then it also just blends out so seamlessly. I'm gonna do my brows and I'm gonna speed it up because it typically takes me some time, so I don't wanna mess it up. So I'm just gonna be using my mirror here off to the side to do my brows, and I'll kind of show y'all what I do. I don't want them to get too dark, so I'm just filling in those sparse areas. So I'm gonna brighten up the inner waterline just a little bit, just to give more dimension to the brown that I smoked out at the bottom. All right, I think that definitely did a little extra, so I love that. This is actually a lip pencil in Nude Beige by NYX, but I just feel like you can interchange liner and a lip pencil any given day, eyeliner and a lip pencil, so perfect. I like that. So I'm going to be using the Morphe Jumbo Continuous Prep and Set Mist. I use this for everything. I think it's perfect for any season. So we're going to go in and I'm just going to douse her up. All right, I am going to do my mascara off camera, but I'm going to come back on to give you guys the lip combo and show you the final look. So for my lip liner, I use the same lip liner in almost every look. It's gonna be Juvia's Palace in Brownie. I love this lip liner. I swear by it. It's always sold out, so your girl always keeps 2 on hand. But I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna line my lips like normal. I overline just a little bit. However, on the bottom, I'm not gonna line too much because I kind of want that really cute pouty look. All right, and then for the pinky lip that we're gonna be doing, I'm gonna be using Makeup by Mario's Moisture Glow Lip Plumping Serum. This is gonna be in Rose Gold. I use this is like my lip combo, y'all. This is all I do. I have a 2-step product. It literally gives you the color, it gives you the gloss without it being too glossy and without it being too pigmented in color. It's perfect. So I'm just gonna dab, blend that out, and then dab one more time. And blend that all in. All right, and then I'm just gonna go in a little bit with the lip liner just to blend that out. And that's the lip combo, y'all. I'm gonna get myself together and show you guys the final put together look. So I just finished getting ready. I just finished the look. I just put on my dress, my coat, and my earrings. Hopefully you like this video. I think the look came out so good. It's like the perfect pinky, but just very, I don't know, it looks so pretty. It looks so pretty. It gives winter. I love it. And hopefully you guys loved it too. If you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in Vlogmas Day 11.